one of the most amazing features of artificial intelligence has just arrived in its second version. Runway's Act-One has just received a major update. But hey, Rodrigo, what is Act-One? Basically, it's motion capture like the kind used in Hollywood, which usually requires thousands of dollars in investment, but now you can do it right at home. Just imagine being able to take an image you created or a picture or video of yourself and simply generate a video using your own motion capture, right? All these expressions I'm making right now, the image you created will generate a video with the same expressions. Amazing, isn't it? I'm going to show you all of this in detail in today's video. But first, leave a comment below. Have you ever dreamed of creating a video where you animate something like this, basically just by uploading your own video? Have you ever imagined creating your own short film? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'll be waiting for your comment. And today I brought one of my favorite experts. At the end of the video, I'll share his channel so you can subscribe. It's really worth it. He's an American, an expert in artificial intelligence and special effects focused on video. So let's get started. I'll be giving my own commentary. After all, I have 12 YouTube channels, as you know. 10 of them are monetized and 5 specifically deal with cinematic videos, animations, and so on. Shall we get started? 3, 2, 1, go.
So Runway has released a hit. More specifically, Act 2, the continuation of their facial performance capture both for images and video. And this time, we have a few surprises. So today, we're going to go through the new feature, see what it's good at, what I've learned, and where it's not so great. And of course, some examples from the community. Make sure your seat is in the upright position. We're ready for takeoff, and we're already on the runway. Now, just a heads up, this is currently in early beta access. That said, it's Runway. They don't hold on to new features for very long. I don't have any insider information, but they really love releasing new things on Fridays. In addition, Act 2 now adds to the growing arsenal of tools available on the Runway platform. Since Act 1 was released, we've gotten things like frames and references. So I thought it would be a good time to do a quick test using the new Act 2 feature. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a serious announcement to make. As incredible as it may seem, both scientific observations and the evidence of our own eyes lead us to the inescapable conclusion that those strange beings who landed on the farms of Jersey tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars. Look at this. This movement here by the radio announcer, characteristically. What can you do? You can be at home, just like that. So, for example, you're like this, right? You set it up like this, then you put on some headphones, and from your home, you start talking. It's that simple. You start talking, record a video of yourself. Then you generate an image with artificial intelligence like this image here, which you can create in Runway itself or in Midjourney, Flux, Leonardo AI. Then you type in radio announcer man, style, like 1980s or black and white or noir and so on, right? So you created the image, you made the video, you acting, that's why it's called Act 1, right? Because you're acting there. Then you upload the video, upload the photo, and, well, Runway using the Act 1 feature will generate a new video now animating the character you sent. Look how amazing that is, but let's keep going.
Good evening, Eleanor.
My God, Arthur. People are losing their minds. The switchboard has been lit up for 20 minutes. Does he even know what he's doing?
Orson, believe me, he truly does indeed.
He's going to get arrested. How did he come up with this crazy idea?
Oh, I gave him the idea. He would deny it, of course. Brilliant kid and all that.
It's incredible. You might be wondering what the difference is between a feature from Act 1 of Runaway and Google VO3, which I talk about so much here on the channel. It's the most advanced AI video generator in the world because not only do you get prompt fidelity, it actually follows what you're saying besides being able to choose A. Let's take the realistic style, right? You can hardly tell what's real and what's not. On top of that, it also generates sound effects in well, it generates dialogues and even lip sync. Perfect. But you have to enter a text prompt or upload an image. And then you have to describe using words what you want the character to do. It's different from Act 1, where you perform. So if you want to make a serious expression, a surprise expression, a happy expression, and so on. You're acting, right? You're the actor. But then you replace yourself with a Disney Pixar style character or a stylized character, a realistic character, and so on. So the difference is that in one, you describe the acting through words, and in the other, you actually act like an actor yourself. That's the big difference.
But no, the idea was mine. His ego just doesn't know that.
You're a financial banker. Why be creative? You always tell us we're broke.
The plan, Eleanor? It's all part of the plan.
What plan?
It's funny that you can act as both the man and the woman, because then what are you going to do next? You can keep the man's voice and later replace the woman's voice with a female voice. What's interesting is that since you're acting, what happens? You're going to open your mouth. So later, when you add an audio here for lip sync, you can do it using HEYGEN, for example, of which I am an official representative. I'll leave the link in the description. But basically, what happens since you're acting and it's capturing the movements of your mouth, later when you add the audio and do the lip sync, it will already have your mouth opening. It's different from sending an image with your mouth closed, where the artificial intelligence would have to guess that there are teeth there. When you act and send a video of yourself, the artificial intelligence will already see your mouth, your teeth, and so on. So this kind of animation is really quite interesting and captivating.
Well, this is simply the first test to see if they'll believe a story that comes out of a box instead of...
Notice here that it's using an old-fashioned effect and everything. But if you put this in a realistic context, like a news broadcast, for example, delivering news, nowadays you'll think it's true, right? Because it's so real. Here we are analyzing an artificial intelligence feature, and the whole style here is more old-fashioned. Now, if you use a realistic style and do proper editing with a news story with a serious tone, that's it. It's already like that. It's already crossing into reality.
Even your own senses when that happens.
And another interesting thing is this. For those scenes without dialogue, with lots of people, you can use Google VO3. There, you can upload images to maintain the fidelity and consistency of the prompt. So you send the same character, and there you describe the scene and create the animation. You can do it in Runway as well. But just to compare, you can use two different technologies and even two different artificial intelligences to create the same short film. That's really interesting. Let's keep going here.
So it was a lot of fun to do this. I put this together in about 3 hours this morning. And although there are some kind of weird scenes and bugs that I definitely would like to fix, I was on a tight deadline, you know? I needed to finish this video. That said, I learned a lot about Act 2 along the way, so let's do a quick analysis of it. So Act 2 is quite interesting. You can access it through the video tab in Runway, and then just scroll down here to where you have the option to use a text prompt and instead switch to run with Act 2. From there, you can choose to upload a reference image or video. In this case, actually, let's take a look at the first run I did. I'm going to upload this image of Tom Cruise. From there, you can add a reference performance either by using your webcam or by uploading a video of yourself. So if you click the record button,
look how interesting. You can create an image here or upload a video, which is what he just did. We call this a reference. And then you'll also upload an image or a video of yourself. So imagine you uploaded an image. He sent an image similar to Tom Cruise's. When you upload a video, it can be a video of you acting, or you can take a video of Tom Cruise himself acting and upload it. So what is Act 1 going to do? It will take the image, take the videos, or Tom Cruise's, for example, and animate the image, capturing the movement. That's the word. Capture the movement. Let's take a look.
record. Your webcam will appear. This is weird. And when you press that little red button there, it will do a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then it starts recording. After you upload your input video, just click on generate, and that's it. It starts. Well, this is the test of our first role here in Act 2. Let's go do this. And I admit, even though it turned out a bit messy, I found it very interesting that Act 2 basically gave the character a sort of narrative motive.
That's really amazing because you have more control. When you describe a prompt to Google VO3, for example, it's really good, honestly, but you don't really know, even if you describe it, you don't know what will actually come out. because you need to describe it very well. You need to communicate very clearly. And even then, something unexpected might come up. Here, nothing unexpected happens because you're acting, right? You're making the expression. So if you want fear, you do this, right? You do it like this, and then the character will do it like this, right? And that's exactly the feature motion capture. So you have much more control over the movement. And that's amazing.
An object to grab and hold when I reached out for my microphone. In this case, in the input image, we actually have a phone, so I think he's trying to follow that idea of the phone. Oh, another thing I noticed is that it actually animates your background. Here we get our helicopter flying by and also a bit of fire going on back there. So, it's really cool. So for the opening presentation shots, I knew I wanted to nail Orson Welles presenting the broadcast. So the initial shots using references were a bit off. I mean, it definitely had his likeness, but it wasn't exactly the way I wanted. After a few more tries and using a different reference image, we get much closer. But in the end, I actually ended up using, an archival video of him doing the presentation and then animated that in Gen 4. So from there, I took that video and, turned on the old webcam. I ended up running into two problems here. First, Orson's original narration is 21 seconds long, and the video I generated was only 10 seconds. Interestingly, Act 2 will actually make up for that difference. Although we'll see where the problems start in just a minute. Now, in terms of performance, for me, this was pretty bad because basically I had to take Orson's original dialogue and then basically just lip sync along with him. Getting that timing right is a pain. So
what's the problem, right? When you send a reference video, remember what I said? When you send an image and then you do the motion capture, it's going to capture the movement of your mouth, right? Because that's the only one it has. Now, when you send a reference video, the person in the original video is also opening their mouth. And then in your video, you're opening your mouth too. And then there's this issue, right? Anyway.
Well, after about 10 tries, I managed to get close and ended up with this result. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a serious announcement to make. As incredible as it may seem, both scientific observations and the evidence of our own eyes. Now, you'll notice that the problems start more or less here, where we see a bit of like incoherence and distortion in the headset here. And then as the generation continues, his eye really gets really weird. In a subsequent attempt, we ended up with Orson looking directly at the camera, and well, that showed me that the orientation of his head really makes quite a difference in the second act. In the end, what worked for me, and this will probably be a little out of sync, was matching the orientation of his head and performing it that way.
Look, one interesting thing about any AI is what it's doing. Like when you see my eyes, if I do this, you agree that you can't see this eye anymore, right? So when I bring it back, the artificial intelligence gets confused. It kind of tries to generate it again, but sometimes it's not the same eye. It doesn't have that fidelity. It's really difficult. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't. So when you move like this, always try look. You can see my whole face here. You can see my ear, right? Try not to make something disappear and then bring it back, because that can create some inconsistency, which is what happened here. So it's much better for the person to look directly at the camera and sometimes even move a little, but keep their eyes on the camera, look there, then come back. But always, without losing the framing. We did this test back in one of the previous videos. That was the Severance series, where the guy does a full 360 turn. And then when he comes back, it's often not the same face, right? It's similar, but it's not the same face.
Which was really hard to do. Moving on to the main part of our narrative, I ended up generating a location, basically as if it were the control room of the radio station where they're broadcasting. I generated some reference images for our characters. These were some options for Eleanor, and then I chose this guy for the character of Arthur. Very elegant. Sir, I know this photo isn't in color. I'm just imagining that this is a blue wool suit. So from there, it was just a matter of putting everyone together in the same room. Using the runway references, that gave me an establishing shot of the studio with Toman, apparently his name was Tom, at first, and Eli, Eleanor, sitting in chairs.
Just so you understand, look, up here it's showing, right? He sent 3 images, both of the set and of the characters here. And Runway, which, no, is not this Act 1 feature. Basically, it generates a new image with all three elements, right? So you can do that in Runway. You can do it, for example, in Flux. You can also do it in ChatGPT and in the image creator.
A black and white photo. As expected, now we have them in the same room. From there, it was just a matter of generating some close-ups of the two characters. I knew I didn't have much time for this, so I didn't get too elaborate with a lot of angles. Now, one thing I want to highlight here, if you run into any issues, like with the character Arthur, where you end up with a composition that's too centered, you can use direct references, such as, for example, Tom or Arthur sitting in the studio chair, keep the focus on the left side of the studio reference image, and then again, Arthur, Tom is looking to the right. And that's really good. So filming everything on my DJI Pocket, I didn't realize at the time that, once again, wow, my head needed to be oriented the same way Arthur's is here. That said, I think it kind of sounds like it more or less works.
Basically, that's what he's talking about too. When you already have it, right, you've created the character's image, it's going to generate it from several different angles, right? From the front, a bit farther away, talking to someone or not. Since he's using Act-One, it's only going to show people speaking there. When she's centered, like just her in the frame. But the problem is, if you make an image that's kind of turned like this, when you go to record with your acting, you have to record from roughly the same angle, right? The closer you get, the better. Because if you have an image like this, and then you record like this, it's complicated because it's going to capture your mouth movements, it's going to capture your performance, you acting facing forward, and the character is turned that way. That can also cause distortions here. On top of everything we're carefully explaining here, one truly important thing is learning the fundamental technique, mastering the specific tool, which is absolutely great. But you can certainly learn that from virtually any readily available tutorial. Now, having a monetization mindset, attracting clients, turning this into a business, whether it's to sell to a client, to create content here on YouTube, to sell this content to another company, or to other YouTubers, to other content creators. In short, if you want to have this business mindset to make money using artificial intelligence tools, I've opened the channel's membership club. Basically, you get access to the videos in advance. You'll also have your comments on the videos here answered with priority. But if you're at level 2, you can ask me anything you want. Maybe you saw a video online, or you're thinking about something, or you're unsure where to start, or you want some recommendations for artificial intelligence tools I'm using. You can ask whatever you want. It doesn't have to be about a specific video. Just ask anything. You can even post your question in the community. Here on YouTube, there's now a community tab where you can even post photos and also videos, including special ones made for members. So maybe something I'm thinking about, some idea I'm having, something I'm working on right now, behind the scenes videos too, how I'm doing things here, how I work, what tools I use, okay? So it's really cool, lots of benefits. And if you like my work here, there are 3 or 4 videos every day. So basically you support the channel and get excellent benefits in return, all right? And down here you have the like button, the comment section, and the join button. There are a few membership levels. You can check out the benefits, but the ones I mentioned start from level 2 plus level 1 is really cool, and level 3 as well, okay? Let's keep going here.
So one thing I recommend, wow, this is a frame, isn't it? It's simply a matter of recording all your performances more or less in one go, and then you can always import and cut everything later. And then after that, you can just layer your Act 2 performances over those clips. My original audio was then, of course, sent to ELEVENLABS voice changer. Actually, Arthur's voice is Barty Reynolds. Go figure. Back to Act 2, there's that frame again. 1. You'll notice that we have a few options.
Hey, just to clarify as well, ELEVENLABS is the most advanced audio tool out there, and I'm actually an official representative. See, it's no coincidence because they're the best when it comes to avatars that also generate audio. This one is much more complete, but if we're talking just about voice, ELEVENLABS is more advanced. Why did he use voice changer? Because basically, as I mentioned, he acted, the voice is his. And then there's a male voice, which could be his or someone else's. If there are 2 male characters, it has to be someone else, and then a female voice. So voice changer, as the name suggests, is for changing voices. So he uploads his voice to ELEVENLABS. Then he creates a male and a female voice, or he picks one from the library there, alters the voice, and that's it. In other words, you can perform from your own home, both in video and audio, and create animation, something you never imagined or dreamed could be possible one day. And you do this by just subscribing to Runway, plus a phone and a microphone. It's that simple. And then there's the 11 Labs tool, right? It's a powerful combination of AI tools.
There's also a settings tab here that lets you adjust the facial expressiveness. I found that 4 worked really well for me. The default is 3. And another thing you definitely want to make sure of is that gestures are enabled. So that's it. Just perform with Act 2 here and make sure this gesture slider is enabled. Wrapping up with a few thoughts on this part before moving on to some additional tests. Look, we end up with some kind of weird things happening, like in this scene where, this guy just suddenly appears out of nowhere in the background. Maybe he's one of the aliens. At a certain point, that clock in the background just starts going crazy. But that happens right when Arthur's explaining the plan. So, I don't know, narratively, it kind of works. Although the eye lines aren't exactly aligned, that's something I know for next time, but I have to say there's nothing like, being able to generate with your own performances. Whether my acting is good or not, that's up to you. I don't think it's that good. It's decent. But it's rewarding to know that, underneath it all, it's me or you, or someone we chose for the role. So let's take a look at some other experiments and a few more tips. But before that, a quick word from today's sponsor, Spotter Studio.
In a world where we think that artificial intelligence is going to replace everything, that in Hollywood, actors will be replaced, animators will be replaced, voice actors will be replaced, I believe this is a path that preserves humanity. It preserves acting. It can be a professional actor there, and at the same time, also voice actors, because you'll have a voice performance there, right? So in this case, I believe it preserves human jobs. Then you still have to do some compositing. So you have the physical actor, you have the voice actor, and you also have the editing professional. And then, of course, there's the screenwriter. I think it's a technology that, let's say, preserves human jobs, the humanity of the craft, right?
So, continuing with a few more tests. I took this video in 9:16 format and uploaded it with a few different rasterlizations. It seems like it doesn't work. So, when I set it to 9:16, it ended up giving an error. So, this might be something that's not available yet. Quick tip about hands. Actually, I ended up taking a screenshot of myself and restylizing it in Midjourney as a pirate. I really like the fact that it gave me this pirate-themed wooden microphone. It turned out really cool. Let's take a look at what we got, testing with a bit of movement and some hands in the frame. This seems to be something that really helps with generating hands. If you start your scene with your hands in the frame. So it ended up looking pretty good. Let's try again, now without hands in the frame, using this as the first scene for restyling to see what happens. If you don't start with your hands in the frame and add them later, sometimes the results can turn out a bit weird. I'm not sure how this turned out in the end. I have to admit, actually it didn't turn out that bad, although we did have a problem with this in our War of the Worlds short film when Eleanor raised her hands. Look.
That looks like a really ugly hand, doesn't it? For God's sake, it looks like Frankenstein's, but that's basically what I was saying. Yeah, since it doesn't see your hand at first, it's going to have a reference problem. It'll have to generate some random hand. And if you keep taking it out and putting it back in, taking it out and putting it back in, it gets complicated. Always try if you're here. Look, for example, I raise my hand, then don't take it completely out of the frame, Keep it more or less here because it's not going to, let's suppose, look, the hand is here, right? So it shows the whole thing, then half, then the whole thing, then half. So, it's not going to generate another hand here. Nothing is impossible, right? But it has the reference for the continuity of the hand. Now, if you do this, look, then you're putting yourself at risk, right? Anyway, let's keep going here.
Actually didn't turn out that bad. In fact, they end up looking kind of weird, like men's hands. Yes, that's a Seinfeld reference. Now, the tool is most suitable for medium shots, especially those at waist height, because the main focus is to capture facial expressions. But I was curious to see what would happen if we took, for example, a video like this and tried to restyle it into something like this. And, it turns out that, no, this really doesn't work. And that's fine if that's not the purpose of this tool. And you can always use it to generate your dialogue takes and then cut to your action generations like our friend of the channel, the Rio Robo Dale, does here. So you can see here, in this corner, we have Dale actually acting everything out. And then when that little picture-in-picture disappears, we go straight into the actual generation. So yeah, this kind of thing works really well for that. Purrs does this with some dialogue and facial expressions, kind of in the style of Thunderbirds, or depending on your age, Team America as an experiment here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, and if you're interested in learning Conf, Purrs' channel is definitely a resource for you. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. Andy Ostrom shows that Act 2 is quite capable of handling animals.
Ah, it's you. I'm so glad you're here. Look, you can have a character from Guardians of the Galaxy, Rocket Raccoon. You do it right from your home. Isn't that amazing? Get in my trash can.
Let's go. And Tim also showed that, yes, you can use props. And finally, the AI Varper brings us a very interesting comparison between Act 2 and Vaso 2.1. You know, to me, both are good.
So guys, what's up? On a scale from 1 to 5, how impressed were you with a tool like this? I'll leave a link here, a playlist of some videos related to animation, including some style transfer videos I made recently. I'm sure you like them, okay? See you in those next videos. See you soon!